No Dane Beams out there, Nathan. How's he tracking for Sunday?
No, Beamsy pulled up a little bit sore on the hip, so wasn't able to do the session today, which would count against him in some shape or form, but still a couple of days for us to go yet.
And Chris Main, how's he looking? He could make a sooner than expected return.
Yeah, look, he's been a good 3 or 4 weeks since the knock against the Bulldogs. Trained really strongly over the last couple of weeks and got through the session today. So I think his hand's up. It's just a matter of whether he fits our balance. Yeah, Aishi's moving well. We're still yet to make the final call on that, but yeah, in the mix again.
Mason declared?
Yeah, Mason, I can declare that one. Yeah, he's actually moving around okay, and has come on pretty well this week. But as I said, he's a big boy, and there's a lot of load going through that lower leg, so we want to make sure he gets that right.
There's been talk about this rivalry with Carlton, that it's not as strong as it has been in the past. How do you look at matches like this up against Carlton?
The rivalry exists, no doubt, and it's in the stands. I think it is still a very real thing for the supporters of both clubs, and I think it's important to acknowledge that. Internally, we look at the last 3 or 4 weeks of how Carlton have played or how our opponent has played, and we break it down to the mechanics and what we think that we need to attend to get the result, and then clearly we're trying to find the right emotional hook for our players to go and find the level that you need to find week in, week out. We don't rely on our opponent to find that emotional high. So largely it comes from within, and it's about us versus the rest, whoever the rest are in that particular moment. So it happens to be Carlton this week, but a lot of our focus, that emotional content and that drive to perform at that level, largely comes internally for us. So yes, we understand the rivalry exists, and it's something that you get asked about when you come up against Carlton or an Essendon or a Richmond, and we acknowledge that, but for us it's probably more intrinsic than that.
Has your idea of your ideal forward setup changed a bit with having a look at Reedy in there, and perhaps when Coxie does come back?
No, I think our forward setup has been fairly similar for the last 18 months. The personnel will ebb and flow, but the roles within it have been fairly consistent. Having Jamie Elliott back in the mix, probably seeing Geordie down there more often. He probably hasn't played as much midfield time as last year, potentially. But our balance has been pretty consistent. Whether we change that due to form or personnel is yet to be seen, but it hasn't been an issue for us at this point. We've probably played smaller than taller at times, been forced to play smaller than taller in the last 18 months, but we'll continue to look for what we think might be our best sort of front half mix, and we might find that something's better than what we're doing at the moment. But right now we're pretty happy with the balance that we roll out week by week.
Bucks are Reed and Mychik almost playing off for one spot.
They've got the opportunity to go out and perform their roles and maintain their current form. Any speculation beyond that is changes pretty quickly with injury or form, matchups against the opposition. So it's too simplistic to think that two blokes are playing for one role.
Does Reedy, I guess, really get another chance to put his best foot forward? I mean, he's impressed already. Is this another, I guess, audition for him?
We've got 22 players auditioning for spots. The focus is on Reedy at the moment, given that he missed a lot of footy and came back and played really well. So last week it wasn't about putting pressure on him to be something that he's not. We just want to see the best of him, and his aerial competitiveness was is an important part of the role he plays, and he brought that to the table. And he was, he put pressure on the opposition and was able to chop out Broads in the ruck at times as well. So it was a really encouraging re-entry into the AFL level, and I'm sure Reddy'd like to take more steps from that again.
How's Darcy Moore's body holding up? Obviously missed a lot of footy. Is it tempting to possibly rest him? But I guess given a match up with Harry, it's still good to have him in.
Yeah, do you want to leave him out of the side?
No.
Like if you were a coach? No, he's playing pretty well, and he's pulling out well from games, and he looks like he's thriving, as opposed to needing to turn him out. It's his performances have been strong, and they're getting stronger. And there's a few matchups in that Carlton front half that he would lend himself to, but he's sort of starting to become a player that the opposition are going to need to worry about the other way. But he knows what his game is built on, and it really is on that aerial strength and the defensive capabilities, and the rest comes his way.
With Wells edging closer to a return.
Yeah, well, we had a bye last week, or VFL had a bye last week, so Wells had played 3, I think, leading into that, and been just gradually building his fitness and his confidence in that ankle or on the foot. So, he'll continue that on Sunday and keep putting building those the evidence that he can take the next step for us when the time's right.
Just back on Beams, what chance do you give him at the moment?
He's 50-50 at the moment, but he's an elite player for us, and so we'll give him right up until the death.
And with Adams out and potential for Beams to be out, does that potentially open the door for an inside player like Wills to get a chance?
Yeah, and Roos, he's probably the best performed of our mids down in the VFL, and has been around the mark for a couple of weeks now. So that would probably be their first port of call, and getting that balance right between insiders and outsiders is crucial as well. So that's in our consideration.
Sire, no chance to come back this soon.
He hasn't played for 3 weeks, and missed. I think he missed 3 or 4 of the previous 7. So he's played 3 or 4 games in 10 weeks. So that's just to put some fact and some perspective in some of the discussion externally. He's probably got to play some footy before he's going to be right for AFL.
Seem to have been squeezed a bit by injury, certainly last year. Is this, I guess, the big test so far this year?
Potentially, we'll obviously we're not a 22-man list just relying on the guys that go out on any given week. We've been really big on building a squad and having a mentality of having players ready to come in and fill the void, and I think we've displayed that often enough. We know that if it wasn't last week, if it's not next week, there will be times when that will occur over the course of a campaign. So that's part of our preparation. It's part of our mentality with our playing group, and we're ready to face whatever challenges are thrown our way in regards to personnel.